Every irritation we feel towards others is not just about them, it's about us. Jung taught us that the shadows we project are fragments of our own unclaimed selves. Here at the Mirror of Power, we believe that every annoyance, every frustration is really an invitation to step closer to our hidden depths and reclaim the parts of ourselves we've left in the dark. So the next time someone gets under your skin, don't just turn away, look into the mirror and ask what it's really showing you. Because true power isn't in changing others, it's in understanding yourself. This has been the Mirror of Power. Until next time, keep searching, keep reflecting, and remember, the mirror never lies.
Every day, people annoy us. The driver who cuts us off in traffic, the coworker who hogs the spotlight, the friend who cancels plans at the last minute. And if you're like me, those moments spark irritation, sometimes small, sometimes boiling over. It feels natural to blame them for being rude, selfish, or careless. But what if I told you those very irritations might reveal more about us than about them? Carl Gustav Jung, the Swiss psychologist and pioneer of analytical psychology, believed exactly that. He wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." At first it seems strange. Why should someone else's behavior say anything about me? But Jung wasn't talking about random annoyance. He was pointing to something deeper, something hidden in our unconscious. Today, I want to take you on a journey through Jung's idea of projection, the shadow, real-life cases, and modern science to uncover why irritation is not just a nuisance, but a pathway to self-discovery. Part 1. Jung and the Shadow. Jung's cytology begins with the idea of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, deny, or hide away. Think of the shadow as a psychological basement. Into it, we stuff the traits we don't want to admit: our envy, our anger, our pride, our desires. These qualities don't disappear. They live on in the unconscious. But here's the twist. When we refuse to face our shadow, we end up projecting it onto others. That arrogance you can't stand? Maybe it's your own pride lurking beneath the surface. That dishonesty you despise? Maybe it reflects your own white lies. Jung put it simply, our irritations are mirrors. What we can't stand in others often points to what we can't stand in ourselves. Part 2. The mechanism of projection. Let's unpack how projection works. Imagine holding a flashlight in a dark cave. The beam shines outward, but the cave walls reflect shadows back. Projection works like that. We shine our unconscious traits onto others, then react to the reflection. Jung saw this play out in therapy all the time. A patient would describe their boss as controlling, only to later realize their own hidden desire for control. Another would rage at a partner's selfishness, but secretly struggle with self-centeredness too. Projection protects us from uncomfortable truths, but it also blinds us, because instead of seeing ourselves, we only see our shadows in others. Part 3. A classic example, the gossiping neighbor. Jung shared a striking example. A woman came to him furious at her neighbor's gossip. She described them as shallow, cruel, small-minded. Her anger was consuming her. But as Jung gently questioned her, something surfaced. She too was fascinated by the lives of others. She too had a curiosity about secrets, but she suppressed it, believing it unworthy of a proper woman. Her irritation at gossip was really her irritation at her own hidden interest. Once she admitted this, the emotional charge lessened. The neighbors hadn't changed, but her relationship to them had. Part 4. Irritation as teacher. Here's the radical part. Jung believed that irritation, annoyance, and even hatred can serve as teachers. Instead of dismissing them, we can ask, why does this bother me so much? What hidden part of myself does this reflect? Am I guilty of the same trait in subtler ways? This doesn't mean everyone else is innocent or that all wrongs are projections. Some people really are harmful. But our reactions are shaped by our inner world. By tracing our irritation back, we uncover pieces of our shadow and, slowly, integrate them. Part 5. Real-life examples of shadow projections. 1. The perfectionist. A man is constantly irritated by lazy coworkers. He prides himself on discipline and hard work. But beneath his irritation is his own suppressed need for rest. His shadow contains the very laziness he despises. 2. The moral crusader. A woman is enraged by dishonesty in others. She calls out every lie, no matter how small. Yet in her own life, she tells half-truths to avoid conflict. Her anger masks her denial of her own dishonesty. 3. The resentful partner. A husband resents his wife for being too controlling, but in arguments, he manipulates her choices to get his way. His projection blinds him to his own controlling nature. In each case, irritation becomes a signal, a flare pointing inward. Part 6. Shadow work in practice. Jung believed that real growth comes not from denying the shadow, but from integrating it. Here are some practices inspired by Jungian psychology. Journaling irritations. Write down what irritated you today and ask, what does this say about me? Have I ever acted this way? Do I secretly wish I could? Owning the projection. Instead of saying, they are selfish, try, where am I selfish? This doesn't excuse others, but shifts focus back to self-awareness. Dream analysis. Jung often used dreams to reveal shadow traits. Nightmares, conflicts, or villains often symbolize rejected parts of ourselves. Active imagination. Jung developed a technique of dialoguing with inner figures. You might imagine speaking with the trait that irritates you, asking why it exists and what it wants. Through these methods, irritation transforms into insight. Part 7. Modern research and relevance. Interestingly, modern psychology supports Jung's insight. Projection studies. Research shows we are more likely to accuse others of traits we deny in ourselves. For example, people who lie frequently are quicker to suspect others of lying. Trigger reactions. Neuroscience suggests strong emotional reactions are often linked to unresolved inner conflicts. Irritation lights up not just because of what's happening outside, but because of what's unresolved inside. Social media. In today's digital age, irritations are everywhere. Online debates, lifestyle envy, political rage, all reflect projections amplified by algorithms. Jung's wisdom feels more relevant than ever. Part 8. Compassion through self-knowledge. Here's the gift, hidden in irritation. Compassion. When I recognize that the arrogance I hate in someone else mirrors my own pride, I judge less harshly. When I see that dishonesty in others stings because I too hide truths, I soften. By owning my shadow, I stop splitting the world into good me and bad them. I see us all as complex, struggling, human. And strangely, this makes relationships easier. Irritation becomes less of a trigger and more of a teacher. Closing reflection. Irritation as an invitation. Carl Jung's saying,
everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves isn't just psychology, it's a way of living. It invites us to turn frustration into reflection, projection into integration, annoyance into awareness. I used to see irritation as a nuisance, something to eliminate. Now I see it as a doorway. Each irritation asks me, what part of myself am I denying? What shadow is calling to be seen? The answers aren't always comfortable, but they're always valuable. Because with each shadow I reclaim, I become a little more whole. And maybe, in the end, irritation isn't an obstacle. Maybe it's the universe handing us a mirror, one annoying moment at a time, inviting us to finally see ourselves.
Every irritation we feel towards others is not just about them, it's about us. Jung taught us that the shadows we project are fragments of our own unclaimed selves. Here at the Mirror of Power, we believe that every annoyance, every frustration is really an invitation to step closer to our hidden depths and reclaim the parts of ourselves we've left in the dark. So the next time someone gets under your skin, don't just turn away, look into the mirror and ask what it's really showing you. Because true power isn't in changing others, it's in understanding yourself. This has been the Mirror of Power. Until next time, keep searching, keep reflecting, and remember, the mirror never lies.